Hi YouTube, I hope you're doing good. I'm doing okay. I just got in from saving one of them stray kittens out there. It had climbed up on a tarp that I had over one end of a box truck to keep snow from going under it out by where the cats are, and it got tangled up in the tarp. It tore it up and was twisting in it. And I was just thinking yesterday I was going to take it down. It was getting a little shabby. But so, yeah, I got to get that off of there soon. I think it learned its lesson. I mean, luckily I'm here if something does happen, but I put my gloves on, and that was that little orange one I was telling you about. We haven't had orange kitties around here for a long time. Just usually these white ones and black and white ones, and so yeah, anyway. And some calico ones that I had from this cat that I brought in, but yeah. Boy, what's on my mind today? I hate liars. Oh, I hate them so bad. I really do. There's this thing that masters of the ether can do to each other if they want to, and I don't practice this, but I'm fully aware of it when it happens to me. That you'll be like talking or trying to learn something or something, and they interject their darkness into the ether on your behalf to stop you from excelling in what you're doing. And when I detect that, it just fries me out. I get almost lethal. I won't get lethal, but inside I'm fucking raging about it. People trying to play with me, you know. Anyway. Boy, I just hate that. I really do. If there's some help I could get to help combat that, because it's a real thing and it happens all the time, all the time. I was aware of that, oh, when I was a kid, and it used to piss me off. My adopted mother would do that shit. She tried to stifle my learning in a lot of ways by handing me upside down books and then turning them back around and making fun of me, and just a real fucking piece of work. And have always said, people that can't have children shouldn't adopt them. Don't buy somebody else's kid, you know. So, but they knew what they were doing because they knew the bloodline I carried, you know. It's just that for them in their household, they could pretend that they had control of the situation, but they're going to find out what true control is. I taught them what control was when I was young in my mannerisms, just by the way they would act around other people and act like vampires and parasites, and I didn't act like that. They were jealous of that. You can't win for losing around these fucking weirdos like that. Really, you're never satisfied. You can be one of them, they'll hate you. You can be not one of them, they'll hate you. It doesn't matter. Any way you turn, they treat each other dirty, and that's how they get along. I just, ugh, it's so, it's disgusting. It really is. I know I use that word a lot, but it really is. It's all I can do not to take somebody's head off their body when they're doing that shit. I hate dark arts. I can hate you people that wield that shit. Get that straight. And I'm not pulling any punches. If somebody's too um lovey-dovey Jesus minded to hear hatred out of my mouth, my channel is not going to be the one for your ears, because the way I'm feeling inside and what these people have done to me and my people. So, and what I mean by my people are the people that would never, ever hurt another human being, not with their speech, their thoughts, or anything. That's my people. That's who I'm talking about. So, cheers, everybody. Yeah. So, Yeah. I feel like it's a temporary thing. I mean, I know when it happens, it's temporary, but then I have to go back and redo what I've done, because of it. So it'll take me longer, but I'll still get there. And I have help along the way. I'm not doing it all alone. It's just like with the true text of the Holy Bible, bringing the Greek to the people is going to have people reading their Bibles all over again with a whole nother outlook on the whole thing, you know. Then you'll see what the good book actually is. It is, that's how it was intended. It was intended as a medical text, not a witchcraft. And that's what we're going to untwist is the dark arts that are used by these people that consider themselves sorcerers. And that brings me to something, people talk about the rites and the rites of the purple and this rite or that rite. Well, maybe that was an instruction for one individual person. Maybe not everybody has a right, you know? It's like I detest the Scottish rites. Do you know what they do? Oh yeah, they have to have a minor in order to um complete their rites, if you get what I mean, you know. So there's some dark shit going on still in this world that has been going on for a very long time, stemming from a document and doctrine that people did not understand, you know. So yeah. It's a little warm here today. I didn't get overheated luckily, but yeah, it's warm. I'm warm. I got well, my attitude's overheated, you know, but and it goes deeper than that. And it's just not one person. If it was one person trying to jack me around, you know, but my memory is ages long. And I might have this temporary thing where I could be interrupted temporarily, temporal, airily, but it won't last. You know how you try to remember? Have you ever been around people that can do that to you? I don't know if you have. The only reason they can is because when it happens, I don't expect it. I think I'm talking in a normal conversation, and then they say something, and with this stupid look on their face, like they just accomplished something. Yeah, they did. They stifled me for a moment with their stupidity. I was blinded by the light because they were dressed up like a douche. No, it's deuce, actually. And a roller in the night. It's like a car. A deuce, it's like a deuce coupe. A lot of people don't know that. They're like dressed up like a douche. No, it's a deuce. Like two, as in um two people fit in a deuce coupe. It has two doors. A sedan has four doors, so it's called a deuce. So anyway, for people who didn't know. So they're talking about a car in that song. Oh, not a roller in the night, a runner in the night. That's what it is. So, yeah, because I was talking about the Greek language again this morning, and for somebody that knows that the dark arts were taken out of there, what was medical text and twisted into implementing these certain things towards people through the churches and the religions, like twisting it, to be like if I said, if you were my kid and I said, would you go grab the milk out of the refrigerator for me? But in their language, it would say, would you dump that milk out that's in the refrigerator? That's about as much sense as it makes. But that's what they're doing to the whole human race. It's so perverse. It really is. They took what was medical texts, actually, even the creation of life, and twisted it into some ball of unbelievable. I mean, I seriously ran across a man that dresses like a woman that acts more manly than some of the men out there that will act cruel towards a woman but aren't a gentleman inside. You know, I'm just saying how it is. Not that I approve of that because I think it's just really horrible. They're not getting in touch with the Great Mother. If they think they are, they're appeasing the dark force. So that's all they're doing. They're so to speak sucking up to the dark force, not the feminine spirit at all. You're not impressing mommy, but maybe they know that, right? So yeah, they do. Yeah, not a whole lot more on my mind. Like I said, I got pretty pissed off and I'm really sick. This is something I'm sick to death of. I'm sick to death of this applies for mostly men, but I'm sick to death of those that think they're like a part of, say, like the 144,000 that think, I'm going to just say it like it is, linguistically, spiritually, literally are as advanced as I am and want to school me in my ways through my anger that doesn't belong to them. No, it's like, yeah, well, it didn't happen to you and you don't have that right. So why don't you sit down and understand or not the person that has that right to, so to speak, to kill the stranger? There's only one, and that's a girl. That's a female that has that right. Nobody else has the right to even war on this planet. Nobody. And they can make up all the excuses they want in the world, but unless somebody's coming right on your property, which is happening in certain countries, and the people that are um, pushing that type of thing, I really want them all caged. They belong in cages. Unless you have to pick up arms and actually defend your own land, you don't belong in a war. We don't as people. And I heard a Ukrainian woman saying, well, like helping them isn't the same or it doesn't correlate with like the homeless, that people would say, well, you know, if it were your relative that was homeless because of the way our country has pushed society, you might think of it a little differently, or the dark arts that are used against our children, and the money that could go towards helping our people and not a war. But that's just my outlook on that. Um, Although if I could help anybody, I would, but I wouldn't help them fight a war. I wouldn't want money going towards that. I mean, defending your own, yeah, but to expect somebody else to defend your own, you know, I don't know. And I don't really have mixed feelings on it. I mean, I don't um, want any innocent blood shed ever. I just don't approve of any wars anywhere or any money going towards that. And yeah, I am more. I've been homeless, so yeah, it is a issue in our country. And I'm sure there's other people that have been homeless that could say, well, they support like other countries that they want to help for different reasons. Okay, I can understand that up to a point, but I will never approve of it. I can't. It goes against my nature. I can't say any more than that about it. So give me a second. I hear something weird out my window. I guess I don't know what it is. I don't know. Something, some kind of bird or something out there making some kind of noise. And yeah, I mean, there is the United Nations, and that's what they're there for. It's not like every country should just take up arms and go running off into another country. That's why, like, even our country has um, service people in the UN for just that reason. It isn't like our whole focus should be on that when we actually have things that we need to take care of in our country. Those countries are for their selves first. And like, and I know people, it's like beating a dead horse with some people, but there's Native American women and children that go missing, like to the tune of like 6,000 a year. And they never resurface. Do you know why that is? It's still a part of the genocide that's ongoing in my country. So the rightful owners of this country can't be in control of it ever again. That's still going on, and that's why it's going on. And you can say or think anything you want, but the gentleness of a native person would never do to you what has been done to them. And they can control their own nations, even as one nation, and get along better than any other peoples in the whole world. And the only time any natives ever fought any other natives is when the Europeans got involved in their well being or not, depending on who opposed the force that was coming in at them, and still is. Only it's more hidden now, you know. But I still say our country needs to be ruled by a real commander in chief. Why do they call him that? What an insult to the natives. Oh, anyway, it is. I don't know if any of you, if that touches your heart at all, but you know, when you go from 100 million that were genocide right up until, you know, right in my state, they hung men and women out in the village square naked so the settlers could see how they handled the Indians. Yeah, but we're just supposed to forget about all that. How would you like it if your mother or grandmother or your child was hung out in the square naked and there's still photographs for all to see? Or if you want to go into the African um, people right up in Duluth, just a little bit north of me here, they took a black man and hung him from a light pole, killed him up there. And about 30 miles that way from me, In 1976, there was a school of Native American Indians that were abused, and many of the mothers of these children were incarcerated in mental hospitals so they could take their children. So, like I'm saying, this shit hasn't ended. There's still reservations without clean drinking water if they don't choose to go into like the casino business or even that. Do you know that Native Americans aren't required to give money back into this country because they're sovereign, but they still do? Yeah, well, they do. They have many projects cleaning up lakes, restocking lakes with fish, and animal care in our states that people just have no clue what the native people are still doing for them. They don't care. They don't fucking care. They talk about green this, green that, when the real green, clean machines, the real herbalists and natural doctors, people that had um, sanitary means when other countries didn't appear to, you know, and medicines when other countries didn't appear to, because it was kept from them by the dark cabal, like they're trying to do to everybody. Take what really works away from you and supply it with something else. Kind of like taking God away from you, who can actually help you, and supplying it with something else. You know? Not cool. So anyway, if anybody doesn't understand what the dark arts of trying to stifle your uh, learning capabilities or whatever, if you don't know what it's like to have your children sacrificed or murdered or any of that, that's not your right. But I would suggest that you probably understand whose right it is and don't condemn the person for, like, if you had something happen to you by a person, you'd want them incarcerated, right? You'd want justice. But when somebody seeks justice and they're angry about it, well, doesn't matter if they do anything or not physically, but if they say something, other people can say, oh, well, that actually sounds so ungodly. No, actually, ungodly would be acting like an ungodly person and pretending that you actually are, you know, but not seeing anybody else's pain beside yourself. But when somebody else goes there, it's like, oh, well, they're a bad person. It's okay for you to go there or you to go there, but if I go there, I'm a piece of crap, you know? So you can lose your temper. Might take a lot, but God forbid anybody else speak that they did. Because you know why? Most people aren't authentic enough to actually speak their mind, what's on their heart and soul. They say they do, but they don't talk like humans. They don't tell you what's going on in their life or anything. They're just like shallow, subhuman. So maybe that's what the Beatles meant when they said we all live in a yellow submarine. I'm sure it means something different, but actually I know it does, but yeah. I would say careful who you listen to, because if you're coming against me, you're not listening to the right person. You know, I don't mean like a human. I'm talking about that entity whispering in your ear against me. So that's the one that will kill you. My words will not kill you. The one that doesn't have those words, that's the one that's hiding under the pretense of being a kind person, and they're all over the place. Look at it. You know they're snaky. So that's about all that's on my mind. If you've ever had that happen, I mean, it could be viewed as an interruption, but it goes deeper than an interruption, because you can feel them putting their feelers out in the ether against you, and you can feel that power come back at you. I mean, if you're not covered by the love of God, it'll probably waste you. But luckily, I recover quickly. But it isn't a pleasant thing. They'll do it if you're trying to make a point when you're talking or whatever it is. It's something, these creatures, there's certain things these families have practiced for thousands of years that they've noticed that have worked on their captives, that they've used against us for a very long time, that are written in documents that are going to start teaching people how to protect themselves. And I'm not talking about a protection spell and all this. This stuff's got to end someday. It's not like that. I'm telling you, you're still playing with fire, and you'll get burnt. If you're not the holder of that fire, it's going to consume you, period. You know? So, anyway. Well, I'm going to get this uploaded. I really just wanted to ask people. I mean, I know there's only one entity that can help me stop that, and I do want it stopped, because I have a lot I want to learn yet in my life and pass on to people. And it's very important to me, and I'm fucking inside. I'm not as lethally pissed as I was when it happened, but I'm not too pleased that it did, and I really detest when it does, and I really detest people looking at me lower because I speak my mind. It's not my actions, it's my mind. It's not my heart, it's still my mind, you know? So if I have hatred with my whole heart, I'd probably be in prison for murder. But I'm not like that. The people that pretend that they're not like that, those are the ones that will actually do something to you. And they do. And they have. So that's what we're battling. All right, everybody. I appreciate you joining me. Hope you have a really good night or day wherever you're at. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA.